Hello everyone, this is Huafang Li. In this short video, I'm going to talk about social enterprise. So when we talk about social enterprise, what are we talking about? Right? So in a very broad definition, social entrepreneurship it is defined as an innovative social value creating activity that can occur within or across the nonprofit and the business sector. Someone may also include the public sector, but in general, when we talk about the social entrepreneurship, it basically refers to the nonprofit and the business. All right, so here's the very famous article written by James Austin and his colleagues. It's called Social and Commercial Entrepreneurship, the Same, Different, or Both. So they draw the theoretical perspective from four different aspects. So first, market failure will create different entrepreneurial opportunities for social and commercial entrepreneurs, right? So basically means externality and information asymmetry, natural monopoly, etc. All these things will create market failure, and that will give social entrepreneur a chance. And but social entrepreneurs and commercial enterprise, they have difference in values, right? So this is a fundamental distinction we'll talk about later. And then we are talking about the differences in terms of financial and human resource mobilization, right? So this is the prevailing difference between these two social and commercial enterprise. And finally, the performance measurement of social impact will also remain a fundamental differentiator, right? Complicating the accountability and the stakeholder relations, because for commercial enterprise, we in general we agree that they maximize profits, while for social enterprise they are aiming at maximizing the social impacts, which are two different things. So they develop a system called PICADO, the people, the context, the deal, and the opportunity, to analyze further the difference between social and the commercial enterprise. So people here is defined as those who participate in the venture or bring resources to the venture, right? And no, for instance, if a social enterprise is registered as a 501c3 organization, right? So it's a nonprofit. Then donors who bring resources to the venture can also be the people here. And the context is defined as those elements outside the control of the entrepreneur that will influence the organization's success or failure. All right, so deal is the substance of the bargain that defines who in a venture gives what, who gets what, and when those delivers and receipts will take place. And the opportunity here is defined as any activity requiring the investment of scarce resources in hopes of a future return. So this is a PICADO system, or the framework they created to analyze the difference or the similarity between commercial and the social enterprise. So remember this, all the relationships are interactive, right? So the context, for instance, influence all the people, deal, and the opportunities. So for people, what do we mean by people, right? So despite then there are many similarities, but they also differ in fundamental ways. So social entrepreneurs are often faced with more constraints because they have limited access to the best talents. Maybe they pay less, than the market average, etc. So few financial institutions, instruments, and the resources for obvious reasons, right? Because these areas are usually challenging, not that profitable. So that's why you need innovative ways to think about making profits. And scarce unrestricted funding and inherent strategic rigidities, right, which hinders their ability to mobilize and deploy resources to achieve the organization's ambitious goals. And for the context, they also differ, which is especially, because of the way the interaction of a social venture's mission and the performance management systems. All right. So social entrepreneurs, they may choose to pursue opportunities to address social change, not despite of, but because of an inhospitable context where business may opt out, right? Because this is a hostile they possibly don't want to enter into. However, for social entrepreneurs, they may respond to that. So this is fundamentally different from their commercial counterparts. And also, while the social marketplace may not reward entrepreneurs for superior performance as readily as the commercial marketplace does for commercial entrepreneurs, but neither does the inferior performance get punished as readily as their commercial entrepreneurs, right? And for the deal, because of the way in which resources must be mobilized and because of the ambiguous associated with performance measurement, the terms of the deal are fundamentally different for commercial and social entrepreneurs. All right, so deals involve the exchange of value, of course, right? So the value transaction in social entrepreneurship differ from their commercial counterparts in kind, consumer, timing, flexibility, and measurability. So there are many different things because the way they differ in mobilization of resources and the performance measurement system, right? So what do we really mean measure maximizing the social impact? Because some of the goals may be ambiguous, not tangible, so therefore it's very hard to measure as if you only look at maximizing the profits, right? And finally, the opportunity dimension, right? So that's is the most distinct owing to fundamental differences in missions, right, and the response to the market failure. So commercial entrepreneurship tends to focus on breakthroughs, right, and the new needs, whereas social entrepreneurship often focuses on serving the basic, long-standing needs more effectively through innovative approaches. Right? But the difference is, in contrast to commercial entrepreneurs, the public betterment mission may lead a social entrepreneur to invest in sector-level capacity and may actually encourage or enable complementary or even competitor organizations to grow to further the shared social mission. Right? So they can work together even as competitors. So rather than to be primarily concerned about capturing greater market share for one's own organization, that's what commercial entrepreneurship usually does. So then basically the previous Picado system, we all focus on the effectiveness, right, economic efficiency, etc. So this article by Dodd talks about social enterprise from an institutional approach or the legitimacy of social enterprise, right? So it talks about the market mechanism on one hand, but also talk about its moral legitimacy on the other hand. Okay, so we will talk about this later on. The social entrepreneur literature will term this as double bottom line. So the traditional economic perspectives will usually focus on efficiency, right, based on cost-benefit analysis of the social entrepreneur, and the effectiveness, right, related to performance measurement, basically look at maximizing the profits. However, for the institutional analysis perspective, it emphasizes on the legitimacy issue, right? So basically, social enterprise needs to be conformity to societal and stakeholders' expectations, meet their expectations, and justify the moral legitimacy, right? So this is quite different from only focusing on efficiency and effectiveness. So let's break it down from the legitimacy or the legal approach. So basically, nonprofit social entrepreneur is essentially owned by the community, right? We talk about the social ownership if a social entrepreneur chooses to opt in, register as a nonprofit, right? So then it will be governed by a board of directors that generally serve without compensation, and there are no basically shareholders, right? And when it's dissolved, right? So all assets must revert to a 501c3 that generally has a similar mission, or just go back to the government. So as a founder, you can't recover your investment at dissolution. And the profit in nonprofit, right, if it's a social enterprise, cannot enroll for the benefits to the benefit of the board of directors, or compensation for employees can't be excessive, right? So if a nonprofit, we generally have an expectation a nonprofit manager can't have a very high salary, right? And for instance, compared to Fortune 500 company manager, right? So we don't have that expectation. And also, if you register as a nonprofit, a 501c3 nonprofit organization, even you are a social enterprise, you can receive donations, and these donations are tax deductible. While if you register with incorporated as a business, right, a company, then you don't have this tax exempt status. All right, so basically, according to Social Enterprise Alliance, they define social enterprise as nonprofit or for-profit business ventures that strive to achieve a quantifiable double bottom line. These ventures are financially self-sufficient. All right, so the double bottom line here means achieve primary social or environmental missions and using the business methods. So the double bottom line not only focus on the economic efficiency, but also the social impact. Okay. So let's break it down. If we see the profit mission continuum, and to see the financial or economic and the social returns of social enterprise. So if you register as a traditional nonprofit, right, so you enjoy tax exempt status, and you focus on the social returns on investment, right? And some examples may be like Mercy Corps, American Cancer Society, etc. And however, in the middle, in between, right, if you focus on nonprofit earned income, right, so it's still nonprofit side, but focus on earned income. So it will say nonprofit can do business-like activities and generate earned incomes. All right, so it focuses both financial and social returns on investments. Right, so you'll see Grayson Bakery, Pioneer Human Services, etc. These are the examples. And of course, as we said, you can register as a business, but with a social focus, right? Social impact focus or social outcome. So they can pursue financial return and simultaneously generate social outcomes. So again, that also focuses on the financial and the social returns on investments, right? So you have example like microfinance, which is predominant, right? So Solar Green Power Corps, Edison Schools, etc. And finally, you have those traditional business activities. The primary goal for those business are to pursuing profits, right? Maximizing profits to shareholders, and basically focus on the financial return rather than social return, right? And you have examples like American Express, General Motors, etc. Now, let me emphasize here, because we talked about corporate social responsibility, right? So we should be more careful in terms of not to generalize the traditional business activities nowadays, because they also become more complicated, and then the blurring boundaries between the business and the social activities. All right, that will be all for this short video. Thank you very much.